All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to pry open the lid on one of the most famous and maybe one of the most misunderstood ideas in all of science. We are unboxing the paradox of Schrödinger's cat. So let's just get right into it. This question right here. Is this cat alive, dead, or somehow both? This simple, almost silly-sounding question is the entire point of a brilliant thought experiment that was dreamed up by physicist Erwin Schrödinger way back in 1935. He was having these long chats with his friend Albert Einstein, and both of them were really bothered by the bizarre new rules of quantum mechanics.
So Schrödinger imagined this scenario. You take a cat and you seal it inside a steel box, and inside with it is what he grimly called an infernal device. Here's how this contraption works. There's a single radioactive atom that has a perfect 50-50 shot of decaying within 1 hour. If it decays, a Geiger counter picks it up. That triggers a hammer, the hammer smashes a little vial of poison, and, well, the cat dies. If the atom doesn't decay, nothing happens, and the cat is fine. The whole point is that a huge, real-world outcome, a living or dead cat, is now completely dependent on a totally random, tiny quantum event.
Okay, now this is where things get really weird, where reality kind of starts to melt. According to the strange rules of quantum mechanics, that little atom, until someone or something measures it, isn't actually decayed or not decayed. It's in what's called a superposition of both states at the exact same time. And since the cat's life is tied directly to that atom, the theory says the cat is also in a superposition. It's just this fuzzy cloud of probability, being somehow 100% alive and 100% dead all at once. But here is the big twist. This is the part that almost every pop culture version of this story gets wrong. Schrödinger did not believe a cat could be a half-dead, half-alive zombie. Not even for a second. This entire thing was a joke. It was a deeply sarcastic critique. He called it a quite ridiculous case himself. He came up with it to show just how absurd he thought the main theory of quantum mechanics was at the time, something called the Copenhagen interpretation. He was basically shouting from the rooftops, hey, look, if we take your ideas seriously, this is the kind of nonsense we get. A cat can't be alive and dead, so your theory must have a hole in it.
So let's be super clear about this. This was never a real experiment. It was a thought experiment designed to take the weirdness that happens at the tiny quantum level and blow it up to a scale, the scale of a cat, that our brains just can't ignore. It was his way of pointing a giant flashing arrow at a huge problem right at the heart of physics.
So what was this massive problem that Schrödinger was so worked up about? Well, it all circles back to that word we just used, superposition. And what's so amazing is that down at the subatomic level, superposition isn't just some wacky philosophical idea. It's a proven, fundamental fact of our universe. Particles like electrons really, truly can be in many places or exist in multiple states all at the same time. The perfect example of this in action is the famous double slit experiment. So if you shoot single electrons, one by one, at a wall with two little slits in it, you'd expect to see two lines on the detector screen behind it, right? But that's not what you see. They act like a wave and create this interference pattern, which is a pattern that could only happen if each electron went through both slits at the very same time. That's superposition, live and in person. And this gets us to the absolute core of the mystery, what physicists call the measurement problem. If tiny things can be in many states at once, but big things like us and cats obviously can't, then where's the line? What is the magic ingredient that counts as a measurement and forces that quantum system to stop messing around and just pick one reality? Is it the Geiger counter? Is it when a conscious person like you opens the box and looks? For a long time, nobody had a good answer. So in all the years since Schrödinger threw down this challenge, physicists have come up with a bunch of different, competing ideas about what's really going on, and each one gives a totally different answer to what happens to that cat in the box. Okay, so there are three main contenders. First up, you've got the classic Copenhagen interpretation. This one says the cat is literally in that fuzzy, undecided state until a conscious observer, you, opens the box. Your act of looking forces reality to make a choice. Then there's the many worlds idea, which is totally wild. It says there's no choice at all. The universe just splits. In one universe, you open the box and find a live cat. In another, parallel universe, another you finds a dead cat. And finally, there's decoherence, which is probably the most popular view among physicists today. It says the whole alive and dead thing is over in a fraction of a second. The cat's environment, the air molecules, the box itself, are constantly measuring it, forcing it to be definitively alive or dead way before we ever open the box. We just don't know which until we look. Now, you might be thinking this is all just weird philosophical stuff. And while a real cat, of course, can't be in two states at once, that core principle Schrödinger was making fun of, superposition, turns out to be the engine that powers our entire modern world. Seriously, think about the device you're watching this on right now. The electrons inside its silicon chips aren't just stuck to one atom. They're in a gigantic superposition, shared among trillions of atoms at once. That's what makes a semiconductor work. Chemical bonds, the things that hold molecules together, that's superposition letting electrons hang out around multiple atoms at once, binding them. And the future of computing? It's all about qubits, which use superposition to be both a 0 and a 1 at the same time. We're talking about computational power that's almost unimaginable. So here's the beautiful, ironic takeaway. Schrödinger's sarcastic thought experiment, which he cooked up to make fun of quantum mechanics, accidentally became the most perfect, most famous explanation for its single most powerful and useful idea. The cat is never really both alive and dead, but the quantum principle of superposition is literally all around us, making our entire technological world possible. And that just leaves us with one last truly mind-bending thought to chew on. What if that many worlds idea is the right one? If every single quantum event with more than one possible outcome actually splits reality, well, that means there isn't just one of you listening to this. There are countless versions of you in countless parallel universes, all branching off from each other at every quantum coin flip, every single moment.